I would make it this far. They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot. Wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. Ain't got no other plans. You don't need to understand. Ay, we on overtime. You don't need to understand. Ay, you just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone. Yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog. Just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving. What we doing? Cause it can get big right. Cause it can get big right. Cause it can get big right. Hey, please don't play no games with me. I promise I'm too much. Hey, I can never let up even if you had enough. Hey, this ain't for the faint of heart. We always playing rough. I had enough. It ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat this submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance ain't coming off track. No, when they ask what's the motive, don't talk, I just show them. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling. They already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand. Ay, we on overtime, you don't need to understand. Ay, you just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone. Yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog. Just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving. What we doing? Cause it can get big right. Cause it can get big right. Cause it can get big right.
Salute, ATP. Was good. Good afternoon. Y'all bear with me. Third shift worker right here. You already know we work the overnight shift, so it's morning for me. But salute to you guys. Clap it up for you guys in the building. For sure. One more time. Right? Man, I had to tap in, man. Pop up live. Appreciate everybody who's in the building right now. And you guys know I'm still managing this new platform, Restream, using Restream now instead of StreamYard. So learning curve a little bit, but we're figuring it out, right? Definitely had to tap in, man. Definitely had to tap in and speak on a lot of the topics going on right now. Boxing is just like a soap opera sometimes. In certain topics, I really had to weigh on my shoulders as to how I was going to do this, whether I was going to pre-record and drop it or do a live, because one of the topics that we're going to talk about today, we're only going to talk about two topics. We're in and out like a robbery, but one of the topics we're going to talk about is a sensitive topic in this particular boxing space, clearly, right? As far as, you know, the black American experience in boxing, as far as even the Latino American experience, the urban boxing experience has been very interesting for the past, what do you guys, would you agree, 3 to 5 years? Maybe the last 3 to 5 years has been an interesting ride. In particular, the past year and a half has been very interesting. Very, very interesting, right? The past year and a half. And it seems like everything that's been happening over the past couple of years is actually culminating to this point where we're at, right? And it's a crossroads for a lot of fans in the space, but it's also I gotta be frank with you and just speak straight to it. I think for a lot of fans, it's a breath of fresh air. It's a turn. It's a turn in the tide, right? What's a better word to maybe describe? If not a turn in the tide, it's the ushering in of a new era. We've got so many young fighters fighting for that spot right now, man, and they all just seem to have the right mindset. But we do have an old guard of sorts that seems to be weeding itself out, right? Just slowly branching off left to right, just kind of dropping off. And the biggest piece to that guard potentially is in the news once again. And unfortunately, not for the right things, right? And it hasn't been for the right things for a long time. So we're going to talk about that today for sure. we're going to speak directly to it. Some people are going to feel some kind of way about it. My guess is they've been feeling some kind of way about it, because how could you have not been feeling some kind of way about it when your fighter that you support, ride or die, has just been completely not helping you along your journey to push him up and keep him up, propped up as the face of boxing, right? No help coming from that side of the conversation. So it is what it is, right? But we're going to speak to it. We've been speaking to it for a long time now. Some of us have been a little bit more upfront and frank and some people might say mean about it. Others have been, trying to put some perspective on it and empathize with the position of somebody who may be dealing with some serious mental health issues. And other people have just been in straight up denial, right? But regardless, this topic has been floating around the scene for so long. It's just an elephant in the room when it comes to boxing conversations. It is an elephant in the room, and an elephant that you just can't help but speak to, right? Because as me as a content creator, if I was to sit here and choose to just be silent and ignore this, it would just, there's a part of me that kind of feels like I'd be a little complicit to the actual situation that's going on, right? I think we should be able to have tough conversations. I think we should be able to share honest perspective. And the facts can't be disrespectful. It shouldn't be disrespectful, at least, right? If we're talking about what's real, if we're not making things up, if we're not slandering, then how can it be disrespectful? And we also have to understand that there are people who just can't deal with the truth and the facts, and you can't move your life or move anything you're working on the beat of a drum of a community of people that refuse to move off their stance, right? Who want to die on that hill. Some people are just going to die there and have to die there, right? But me, myself as a creator, I can't shy away from the actual topics on hand. I just can't do it. I won't do it, right? I feel uncomfortable doing it. I just can't do it. It is what it is. So we're going to speak on that today. Ryan Garcia also gets announced to be fighting against Mario Barrios. Well, not announced, sorry. Pull that back before it circulates through the space. Not announced, but it seems to be in the works, right? It gets announced that it's in the works. It hasn't been finalized. The date hasn't been dropped, nor has it been finalized if the fight's going to happen. But we're going to talk about that. That's a very interesting situation, because when you're talking about that, you got to talk about the WBC sanctioning body. You got to talk about sanctioning bodies in general. I mean, just watching the way we can go back to Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. Just all of a sudden, they're fighting for a WBA title. Rolly Romero now the current welterweight WBA champion of the world. And, right? These sanctioning bodies are moving they're moving the way they choose to move. How does it look? I mean, with the entrance of the Dana Whites, the Turkey Al-Sheikhs wanting to come out with leagues, there's been a consistent consensus over the sanctioning bodies and how corrupt one might say they are. And when you see things like this, if you really get deeper into it, it just continues to fuel that whole entire argument. And we'll talk about that for sure, right? Because Ryan Garcia coming off of a loss, a pretty embarrassing loss against Rolly Romero, now walking into another opportunity to become a champion. There is a bigger picture to it. Obviously, at all times, we can never discount Ryan Garcia's star power and what he brings into the space and the attention he brings. And obviously, we know how the sanctioning bodies operate with a certain percentage of these fighters' purses. So why wouldn't a sanctioning body want to be involved in a Canelo Alvarez business, in a Ryan Garcia business, in a Gervonta Tank Davis business, in the business of the needle movers in the space who seem to be packing out arenas, selling out on pay-per-views, or not selling out, but selling a lot of pay-per-views, getting a lot of views even on streaming services and getting that attention. And if these fighters are making big purses, and the sanctioning bodies that are affiliated with them are in the same position. But the structure of boxing, the integrity of boxing is always on the line. Sports don't seem to operate that way. The Dallas Cowboys don't seem to always end up as Super Bowl champions or in the Super Bowl, and they're one of the biggest franchises in NFL, in the NFL and in NFL history. And the structure of the sport, the integrity of the sport, and other sports in the world always seem to be the priority, right? Always seem to be what's most important than anything else. But with this sanctioning bodies and their structure and the way that they organize it, it's hard to respect a champion in boxing, right? Very difficult to respect a champion in boxing when you understand that people are being pushed forward just off of their popularity, right? And I think it potentially hurts another generation of fighters coming into the space, as we've seen run rampant in the past years, as fighters continue to speak on how who cares about championship belts, who cares about belts, right? And there's a reason behind it, right? When you're looking at what's happening with Ryan Garcia right now, that's just another one, right? That's just another one. Shout out to DJ Khaled, and another one, right? That's just another one in the bag of nonsense that happens with these sanctioning bodies. We'll talk about that as well. And we will tap in a little bit to Edgar Berlanga, man. My guy Edgar Berlanga back in the space. He's trying to get back in the bag. How do I feel about an Edgar Berlanga versus a Jake Paul? I'll give you my opinion on that, right? But Edgar Berlanga also in the news, supposedly negotiating. Once again, you know, he's getting ready to negotiate to get into a fight with Armando Resendiz. If you guys don't know, Armando Resendiz is, I believe, an interim WBA or WBO champion, or regular champion, whatever you want to look at it, at 168. We saw Edgar Berlanga come off of a knockout, right? Loss to Hamza Shiraz, and here we go. He dives into another opportunity to get a title. It is what it is, right? Like, so the sanctioning bodies continue to deliver. The sanctioning bodies continue to deliver on their promise to get money. Oh man, they continue to deliver on their promise to continue to get money, to be part of the biggest events. They stayed true to their promise, right? That promise, at least. But it's hard. It's hard. But I love the fight. For whatever it's worth, I love the fight. We'll talk about it all here today. Salute to everybody in the building. Let me go ahead and do a quick little roll call up in here as people are stepping in. I think it's like 20-something people in here. Hit the like buttons as you come into the building. I appreciate everybody. Thank you in advance for hitting that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, take a moment to go ahead and do that. Shout out to all my new subscribers in this space that subscribe to the channel. We've had a little up boost in subscribers. I've got to credit that to Ness over there at the Boxing Voice, being on his panel for a few days, man. A lot of people got an opportunity to be introduced to me, and they felt like, you know, I was subscriber worthy, right? And I appreciate that, and I'm going to try to stay true to whatever it is that drove you to come over here and subscribe to this channel. I'm going to try to stay true to that, and make sure that you leave a satisfied boxing fan. Welcome to the Boxing Take, right? And we're going to talk about it all here. There's so much to talk about in boxing. Very rarely do we get a chance to cover it all, but we try to cover the hottest topics. But more importantly, we try to cover boxing. I try not to be a chatty patty drama space. You know, I try not to be, but certain things like today, I'm sure there'll be an argument there that really, well, you're talking about Tank and his person here, right? I'm sure that will be that'll be a legitimate argument for today. It is what it is. I have an obligation to cover what's going on in the sport and what affects the sport. But for the most part, we are covering boxing here. That's what it is, right? I won't say for the most part. I won't even play that game. What we cover here is boxing, right? That's what we cover here is boxing. So let's talk about it, and let's go through the people in the building. Shout out to Jerome Bratton in the building. Salute to you, family. Thank you for being in the building. Sonny Augustine says, salute Clay Moore. Salute Claymore. God bless, brother. No doubt. God bless you too, family. Let me change this away. I always got to do this. I'm getting used to this restream, man. Really getting used to it. Bear with me, guys. Back here. Let's do this. Let's try this one more time. Motown 909 in the building says, salute, Clay. Salute back at you, family. MMA Boxing Addict says, Francis should take the fight, but won't. We're not in the same lane. Edgar versus Jake would be exciting. 100%, man. 100%. Edgar versus Jake, I think, is an interesting fight. Believe it or not. I mean, an interesting fight, right? I think Edgar is in a perfect place in his career right now to where he could really use something like this. I mean, we'll talk about it, right? Because Edgar almost, like, he seems to be teetering on falling off, but always in the conversation of getting back on. Because one thing about Edgar Berlanga, he brings the noise. He brings the promotion. He does it at the press conference. He brings a crowd, right? He brings an energy about him. And when he's winning, obviously he's better, but he's a great dance partner. Somebody like Jake Paul, with the way he brings it in the press conferences and his marketing, Edgar Berlanga, Jake Paul, that combination might be a combination that I might have to see it. I might have to see it, right? I don't know. Shout out to my brother Blue Blood Sports TV in the building. I'm a co-host on Blue Blood Sports TV, so believe it or not, I know you guys don't see us working together. You don't see us working together as regularly as we used to, but we seem to be trying to work it out. We're working it out. We're gonna get it together. I know we're gonna get it together, man. But that's my guy, man. Good-hearted, real dude, bro. Authentic spirit, soul, person. Very happy. Very happy I met Blue Blood Sports and that we've built this relationship, this friendship, you know what I'm saying, over the past year and a half and change. One of the best people I've met in this boxing space. Legitimately. No cap in my rap, right? Salute to Blue Blood Sports. Shout out to Mr. Big Play Bray again. Says, good afternoon, boxing family. Good afternoon, Big Play. Shout out to my Aki. Walaikum salam, Fly Frequency. What's good with you, family? Hope everything is good with you, man. Love to see my brother in the building. Southwest Dice in the building, instructing you guys to do the best thing, man. If you knew better, you do better. Hit that like button as you step into the building. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it. Shout out to my brother, Southwest Dice. Let me see Shelton Moore in the building, man. I ain't seen you in a minute, Shelton. Salute to my OG, man. I believe you my OG, right, Shelton? You older than me, right? Shelton Moore, man. Scholar amongst gentlemen. Shelton Moore in the building. Salute to you, family. Will there be a link? Maybe. I don't know. I gotta get myself together today. I got things to do, so I'm in and out like a robbery. Maybe there will be a link, man. Maybe real quick, I'll take on one person at a time and we'll address some things. We'll see how much time is left after I do my rant, right? Shout out to my brother Kai Fly in the building. Says, Clay, did you yet address the repulsive behavior of Tank? Son, a do bad. Yeah, man, we're going to address it. That's exactly what this is about, man. We haven't done it yet at all, man. Shout out to the wifey, man, in the building, letting y'all know to do the same thing, man. Hit up the like button for this pop-up live, man. Salute to everybody in the building, man, for sure, man. Rick Tim's in the building. Salute to my G, man. What's up, Clay in chat? Okay, he's waving his hand. It says hand pink waving. Rick Tim, salute to you, family. Salute. Kai Fly in the building. Oh no, I already said what's up to you, Kai Fly. Let's see here. MMA Boxing says, with the WBC president uplifting his ban, it seems like this is the next step to making the fight. Yeah, for sure. That fight seems like it's definitely going to be made. And we'll talk a little bit about Oscar De La Hoya too and his position in this. I usually don't agree with Oscar De La Hoya, right? Like generally speaking, I mean, I don't know. I'm not there with Oscar De La Hoya yet. I think he tries to speak from a full of integrity space, but at the same time, he does weird things from time to time. But this stance that he has on Jake Paul and Ryan Garcia happening and how he got in front of it and just kept it 100, I can't even argue with the guy, right? I mean, he's got a point, man. He's got a point. At some point or another, two things. Number one, Ryan Garcia has to act like a fighter who has a promoter and who has obligations and responsibilities and has to be accountable to some damn body, right? And at the same time, Jake Paul at some point or another has to make his decision as to where he is in boxing. Are you fighting? Do you want the respect of the space? And why and when are we? I'm going to say why first, and then if after you answer why, I would like to know when can we expect you to fight contenders in your weight class, right? If you are a cruiserweight, why are you not fighting cruiserweights? Why are you not fighting people with a heartbeat? I get it. The money, I get it, but at the same time, what do you want us to do with that as fans, right? If you want us to really take you seriously, if that's something you seriously want to do at some point or another, you got to embrace the idea of competing with fights that we can respect, right? And trying to get a Ryan Garcia, who's a big star, last minute to go ahead and replace Gervonta Tank Davis is almost insulting. Shout out to Francis Ngannou, who said it as well. Real fighters don't want to play that kind of game, right? Real fighters and people who really care about their legacy really don't want to be involved in too many circus shows. So shout out to Oscar De La Hoya for just keeping it real on that. But he's given Ryan Garcia an opportunity, right? He's putting him in the midst of becoming a champion potentially. He's obviously a negotiator, spoken with Mauricio Sulaiman. Mauricio Sulaiman is not shy to making money. a ban has been lifted by the WBC that was put on Ryan Garcia during the whole Devin Haney situation with the PD usage and with the words he was using at the time. I don't remember exactly why he got banned. I think it may have had more to do with some of his rhetoric online more than him popping on a performance enhancement drug test. It was so many things going on at that time. So many different things going on at that time with Ryan Garcia. One of those things pissed the WBC off and made them ban him out of that sanctioning body list. But now with information circulating that they may be negotiating him a title shot against Mario Barrios for that WBC title, clearly that ban has to be lifted for that to even be real. And it looks like Mauricio Suleiman has co-signed the idea of that fight by lifting that ban, right? It is what it is, man. Shout out to Mac Majestic in the building. Mac, what's good with you, man? Says, what up? What's up, Clay? The WBC's a joke. Yeah, a lot of these sanctioning bodies seem to be that. Some are more transparent and seem to be more honest than others, but they all seem to fall underneath that same category, right? They all trying to get that 3%. And it's probably no coincidence that some of the biggest stars in the space always find themselves in the direction of getting a championship, even if they don't want it, right? Tank Davis has arguably said he doesn't care about belts and refused the WBA belt at one point in time and took it as they forced it on him after he beat Frank Martin, right? So they've got work to do, man. They've got real work to do, man. Shout out to my brother Ray Davis in the building, man, with the $2. Says, start the show with support. Tank needs help. No doubt, Ray, for sure, man. Salute to you, family. Let's see here. Let's continue to go down. Did I catch everybody? I might have caught everybody, man. Jersey Bob in the building. No, I'm not familiar with you, Jersey Bob, so I'm assuming you're a new person here, probably from the Boxing Voice, I'm assuming, right? Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you being in the building. So they're giving fighters opportunities because too many fighters are no names and have no fans. I hear you, brother, no doubt, man. Shout out to Adel Choice with the $2 super chat. Says assalamu alaikum, and back to you, man. Walaikum salam, family. Good to see you in the building. Hope you are in good spirits and even better health, man, for sure, man. Probably good health and even better spirits. Maybe that's better. Whatever fits. Whatever shoe fits, man. Let me see here. Anton Zegler in the building. Hit me with this. Assalamu alaikums, man. Walaikum salam. Anton, what's good? What's good, brother? What's good with you, family? Mr. Ishmael in the building, man. Salute. Clay and chat. Salute, 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 salute. Let's see here. Continuing to go down the list here. Round one in the building. Salute, man. Says, heard Jake team reaching out to Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. Oh, boy, you almost pissed me off, man. You playing with me. Salute to my brother Ryan Frazier, Boxing Talk up north. What's good with you, man? Hal Smith in the building. Salute. Says salute Claymore Rain and the chat. Salute, salute, salute. And salute to my OG scholar amongst scholars, Bruce Gas, Boxing and Jazz and more in the building. Salute, salute to all you guys. All right, so let's get to it, man. Let's build on these topics. Let's speak directly to the elephant in the room. Tank Davis gets caught up, guys. He gets caught up again in a scandal and involving a female, and it's involving domestic violence. Allegations, of course, but not the first for Tank Davis, right, guys? It's just not the first for Tank Davis, and we don't need to beat around the bush about it. Seems to always find himself in a situation like this. And look, Tank Davis is a human being. He can be flawed. He can have issues. He can have hills to climb, mountains to climb. We all go through different things, and we all have different vices that hold us back in life. Some are more embarrassing than others. But listen, Tank Davis is a superstar boxer, so his life is on the whole entire it's on the whole stage for the world to see. And unfortunately, what comes with the fame, what comes with the game, what comes with the money, what comes with all those things also comes this part, being exposed in a way that most of us don't have to worry about, right? Most of us don't have to worry about being exposed that way. So Tank Davis going through his issues right there on the public stage and in the midst of putting together one of the biggest fights of the year, arguably, that some creators would say, right, against Jake Paul on a Netflix. And this thing is supposed to do viewership bigger than Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. So a lot of eyes on this, to say the least. To say the least, a lot of eyes on this. And he ends up in another situation. And it seems like he just had a situation months ago, right? Legitimately just got out of a situation months ago where his baby mother, him and his baby mother, got into a situation, and it got in the way of another fight coming together, the rematch between him and Lamont Roach Jr., the Reaper, right? And a whole entire undercard was affected, displaced. People who have been working out on strict diets, paying for camps, doing all these things to put the event together, promoters spending money, trying to figure out what to do. And Tank Davis's personal life issues on the big stage are getting in the way of this happening. And here we are, present day, right now, this moment where Tank Davis's personal issues have gotten away with one of the biggest events, millions of dollars on the line. We spoke about this a little bit on Saturday, right? But as things are developing, Jake Paul has put out a statement. Let me see if I can find that statement. As a matter of fact, you would have thought I would have had it loaded and ready to go, right? But that's just not how I operate, guys. I am definitely on the fly kind of guy. You know what I mean? I'm on the fly kind of guy. Let me see if I can find it, man. If I can find it, I'll put it up. If I can't, I'll get past it. I promise I won't hold you guys up longer than you need to be held up. But I want to speak to what Jake Paul said. I think he said something very profound. I'm sure a lot of people are insulted. I don't know. I mean, I would say his fans probably feel some kind of way about it, right? Where is it, man? Let me see here. Trying to find it here, man. Maybe it's on Most Valuable Promotions, MVP. Maybe that's where it's at. That's probably where it's at, right? That's probably where it would be at. Let me see here. I'm trying to find the link. Go. Why you gotta make it hard for me to find it, Jake? If you said something, put it somewhere where I can get to it. Why I gotta look for it? Did you pull it down? What kind of weird energy? I'm trying to find this damn statement he made so I could read it and break it down. And I got to go through this with you, man. I ain't trying to do this with you, brother. I'm not trying to do this with you, brother. Update on Jake Paul file, link in bio. Huh? What? Link in bio? What are you talking about? Why you link in bio? Sauron, Most Valuable. Our team has worked closely. Let me see statement. Oh, goodness gracious, bro. Let me see here. Home. Statement. Most valuable. Thanks for everyone's patience. Yeah, bro. Of course, they're gonna make it hard to find, bro. They're just gonna make you search the internet. So I'm just gonna get away from this part and do what most people are probably doing. Let's just go right to another situation, right? MVP Jake Paul responds to Tank Davis. Fucking crazy. I gotta go through this with you, bro. Breaks his silence. Let's do it like this. Let's go ahead and see if it's here somewhere. Okay, follow. Is this it? Let's see. Okay, I found something. I found it. All right, there we go. I found it, ladies and gentlemen. I found it. Let's go ahead and pull it onto the screen right here. Let's add screen share. Jake Paul, share. Okay, how does it look, guys? Let's see. Okay, there it is, right? Perfect. Let's see here. Here we go. Let's read it here. Gervonta Tank Davis is an actual walking human piece of garbage. Working with him is an absolute nightmare. The unprofessionalism, the bizarre requests, the showing up hours late to shoots, to the numerous arrests and related accusations and lawsuits. If you support this man, you support the most vile sin a man can commit. I didn't want to give this woman abuser a platform to grow his fans and to grow his bank account. My company champions women. I'm so sorry to everyone involved. Mostly to the undercard fighters, to my team at MVP, and to my team who worked so hard prepping for this fight, sacrificing time with loved ones and kids just for this fool to lose his unintelligent mind again. It's scary that devilish men like this can rise to the top of the culture in sports, including in positions of power. I hope you people moving forward can look beyond this fake streetwear pieces, swag, and search for something deeper to be a fan of. As for me, it's on to the next one as always. Anyone, anytime, any place, Jake. Well, that's how Jake feels about it, right? Let's be honest. This is how Jake feels about it. It is what it is. Hold on, I'm trying to pull this down here. How do I do that? Okay, I know how to do it. This is what I do, right? No, I do this and do this. I'm learning how to work this damn restream. Interesting statement, right? Interesting statement. And let's go ahead and take a moment to go ahead and just break down the statement at least and get make sure we're accurately getting what Jake Paul is trying to convey to us, right? First thing he says is Gervonta Davis is an actual walking piece of human garbage. That's a pretty wild thing to say. But what I get from that is he's pretty damn angry, right? And why wouldn't he be angry? He's put a lot into putting this event together. Jake Paul's a man who's about his money. He's about putting together the biggest events he can put together for himself. We have to give Jake Paul a lot of credibility, and we have to celebrate him for what he should be celebrated for, right? This guy comes from YouTube, jumps into boxing, takes it seriously as far as training in the gym. He starts putting on these UFC, ex-UFC fighters, retired fighters, whatever you want to call it, in these events, and he's made millions of dollars, and he's been in the conversations. However you may feel about it, Jake Paul has legitimately been in the conversations of being the face of boxing, right? I mean, this is real. And it's based off of the amount of revenue and attention he's been bringing to this space for the past few years. You don't have to agree with it, but I think it's hard to argue that he's been in these conversations on what some people would consider some reputable pundits in the space, content creators, whatever you want to call them, have spoken of Jake Paul in this light. So clearly frustrated with the idea of this event not happening because Tank Davis couldn't hold himself together long enough to commit to at least helping us promote this event, do the things we're asking you to do. We're giving you free money. You know, we all know this fight may not be as real as other fights you're in. You're probably not in as much danger as you would be fighting against your peers. We're giving you 2, 3, 4 times as much money as you probably would get fighting those guys. And you would think that Tank Davis would have some sort of understanding and be able to separate the ignorant shit from the real shit and focus and dial in to make this happen. So from Jake Paul's point of view and his experience with Gervonta Tank Davis, working with him closely, there's an argument there also to say that Jake Paul has a better understanding and in a closer on-hand perspective of who Gervonta Tank Davis is as a businessman and as a human being than we do as fans, as we're only being exposed to what we're being exposed to, right? Whatever comes on social media, whatever goes across the news, that's what we know of Gervonta Tank Davis. Nobody knows Gervonta Tank Davis personally or intimately, unless somebody does in the building. That's, you know, if you have a personal relationship with Tank Davis, clearly this is not addressing you. But I would say the lion's share of the mass has no intimate relationship or knowledge of Gervonta Tank Davis outside of what we see on social media. Jake Paul has had the opportunity to have a deeper and closer relationship with Gervonta Tank Davis, pause if it's needed. And he's decided after he's dealt with him for the time period that he's dealt with him that this guy is a human piece of garbage. Let's continue. He says working with him has been an absolute nightmare, hence him being a human garbage. He said the unprofessionalism, he's not used to it, right? Mike Tyson is, whatever people want to say about Mike Tyson, professional, help Jake Paul get to the money. Whatever people want to say about Tyron Woodley, professional enough to get money with. Whatever people want to say about Nate Diaz, professional enough to get money with. Whatever people want to say about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., arguably one of the biggest disappointments in boxing, legacy-wise, with his father, Senior. Even with him able to make it happen, able to get past his downfalls, his shortcomings, his drug addictions, his alcohol abuse, his lack of discipline, and able to make a fight happen. But with Tank Davis, it's just been one of the most horrible experiences. Excuse me, let me quote him, right? The unprofessionalism, it is an absolute nightmare. The unprofessionalism, the bizarre requests, the showing up hours late to shoots, to the numerous arrests and related accusations and lawsuits. If you support this man, you support the most vile sin a man can commit. Wow, that's deep, right? Let's slow down. Let's speak on that for a half a second. Let's speak on that for a minute, right? Let's just sit here for a second. So what he's letting you know is that this man has a track record that is unbelievable. Now, Jake, I got to hold you accountable and speak directly to you and say, I'm glad that you're acknowledging that he's always been involved in things like this. He's always had a history of being caught up in lawsuits and accusations of domestic violence, and he's always carried himself accordingly. Matter of fact, I don't remember the last time I've seen Gervonta Tank Davis truly carry himself in that professional manner ever since he's left Floyd Mayweather. It's N-bomb this, N-bomb that. It's cussing out media. It's cussing out his fans, right? It's constantly saying weird things on Twitter, then pulling it off to Twitter. Like, I mean, he's been consistently inconsistent in his career. Look what you just grabbed him from, losing a fight. You just picked him up off of sabotaging a fight with Lamont Roach Jr., right? Off of what? Domestic violence accusations. So, Jake, come on now. Let's be honest and let's be a little bit more genuine and not act like that. Let's not do that, right? Let's be a little bit more genuine and not act like you didn't know what you were getting involved with when you went to do business with Gervonta Tank Davis. You knew the risk. It is what it is. But listen, man, it is what it is. Let's continue. Let's continue to move forward through this. Says, I didn't want to give this woman abuser a platform to grow his fans and to grow his bank account. Well, I mean, arguably, he's already been on camera pulling women physically, somewhat assaulting, right? His girlfriend or baby mother, whoever that was. I don't remember. I think it was his girlfriend. I don't think he had a child with her, pulling her outside of the right on camera, right there in the basketball game, physically abusing her. And you took that into consideration, or did you not take that into consideration when you decided to put this event together with him, right? Once again, it is what it is. I get it, your perspective, your point of view, but it is what it is, right, Jake? Says, my company champions women's, which Jake Paul does, right? He's put on, look what he's done for Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, women's boxing in general. He signed so many women fighters. Alicia Baumgardner was going to be on this card. So I agree. I understand. He does champion women. And you're right, Jake. It looks crazy for you to have somebody like that making money off of the back of what you've built, which arguably you've built on the back of women boxing to a degree, right? There's an argument there to say that. And I mean, that we got to take that lightly because you're Jake Paul, right? The real argument probably is that women's boxing is getting built on your back, right? It is what it is. But just to say that being affiliated with women boxing as closely as you are, it does look crazy and diabolical for you to be here at this moment championing or having somebody like a Gervonta Tank Davis who's on camera doing things to women that are unbecoming of a man, right? And for you to be, it just doesn't look right. So I understand where you're coming from. So he said, listen, man, he offers his apologies because he's taking accountability. He says, I'm so sorry to everyone involved. That's what you got to do. When you're boss, you got to take accountability. You put everybody's well-being and their money and their pockets on the line. You bet, and you bet bad on this one. And people are probably looking at you weird like Netflix. Netflix is probably looking at you crazy right now, right? You done made them spend money. You done made them told them you're gonna give them this big show. You sold them the idea on Canelo Alvarez. That fell through. This was your I mean, okay, we're gonna do the Tank thing. Guys, we got this under control. He kind of makes you look kind of stupid. So yeah, definitely apologize to somebody. Somebody deserves an apology here. And the fans too, right? I think we deserve an apology too, but I'm sure the money definitely wants to understand what's going on right now. It is what it is. Anyway, mostly to the undercard fighters, the Gary Antoine Russells, Alicia Baumgardners, these people deserve apologies. To my team at MVP and to my team who worked so hard for prepping for this fight, sacrificing time, loved ones, kids, just for this fool to lose his unintelligent mind again. Unintelligent mind. You know what I mean? That lets you know what Jake has always thought about Tank Davis, not the sharpest pencil in the pack. And, once again, did you not know this before you got involved with Tank? These things were there clear as day. We've all been seeing this unravel, this Gervonta Tank Davis experiment unravel in front of our eyes. And one would argue that Jake Paul saw that as well, took that into consideration when he did this deal with Tank Davis to take advantage potentially of a quote unquote unintelligent mind again, right? Anyway, it is what it is. It says, it's scary that devilish men like this can rise to the top of the culture in sports, including in positions of power, which is true. And I'm not saying he's a scary man. I don't know Tank like that, right? But listen, man, I'm from an area where they say if 8 to 10 people call you a crackhead, maybe, I don't know. Usually something's there. Maybe it's not crack. Maybe it's crackhead tendencies. Maybe you drink like a crackhead. Maybe you eat too much like a crack. I don't know what it is that got them calling you crackhead, fam. I don't know what it is, but something about you has multiple people who have no affiliation with each other giving me a heads up that you might be a crackhead. I might need to take that into consideration when dealing with you. I might need to take it into consideration. I'm not saying I'm going to pass judgment on you and say you're a crackhead. I'm just saying, you know, if something bad were to happen to me, or if I were to suffer from what crackheads do, there'd be little empathy for me. People would look at me crazy and be like, oh, damn. Well, damn, bro, we've been telling you he was a crackhead. And I'd be like, yeah, but I never seen him smoke crack. And, you know, I'm just the kind of person who doesn't like, if I don't see for myself, I'm sorry. I just had it. Well, you experienced it, bro. Half your shit's robbed out your damn crib. You done fucking, you know what I'm saying? You done attacked one of your children in the yard. You done took some shit from you. It is what it is, right? It's just, the people around you are going to look at you like, okay, you needed everything in the world. Yeah, you couldn't take our word for it. You know, it's been about the whole entire town has been telling you this guy is the town crackhead. And because you haven't been able to catch this guy smoking on a pipe in the corner, you won't accept the fact that he's a crackhead. I might have gone too deep. I apologize. I went too deep, right? If you've ever dealt with crackheads, I might have gone too deep. I'm going to pull back. I'm going to dial it back, guys. I'm going to dial it back and bring it back to the point at hand. At the end of the day, Jake, you understood. You should have understood, because at the end of the day, there were clear signs out there. People have been speaking on it. You have been supposedly a boxing fan. I'm sure you've been watching Gervonta Tank Davis, how he's been carrying himself for the past 2 years. Honestly, ever since the Ryan Garcia situation, that was the last bit of, oh, man. I'll give him the Frank Martin fight. I'll say the Frank Martin fight was the last time I seen Tank Davis be a boxer about some sort of legacy, about making fights, about boxing, right? He hasn't been like about boxing in a very long time. And we all know that, including you, Jake, right? Including you. It is what it is. But it is what it is. But here's a message to the boxing fans, to the fanatics of Tank Davis who see no wrong in him, who only want to celebrate and champion him. Salute to you guys, because you guys have showed us over the past years what real hard body loyalty looks like. It's been a little scary. It's been a little scary dealing with you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. A little thought-provoking watching you guys do what you do. All right? We watched some real weird, questionable on character activity in the Tank Davis boxing fan community. But nonetheless, admirable to a certain degree, because no matter what he does, you hold that man down. And wow, bro. I wonder if I'll ever have fans like that, right? I don't know if I ever will, man. You got to be special. And that right there is something also to be highlighted, right? But here's a message from Jake Paul directly to the fan base of Tank Davis, and just kind of give him a heads up at this point with his experience. Here's what he sits on it. He says, I hope you people moving forward look beyond his fake streetwear pieces, quote unquote, swag, and search for something deeper to be a fan of. Look, as for me, it's on to the next one. As always, anyone, anytime, any place. Let's get money, Jake Paul, and the most valuable promotions, right? That's interesting, right? That's an interesting statement made by Jake Paul. Shout out to Radio Raheem and Sean Zytel, two of the best in the game as far as journalists are concerned. You got to give those guys their flowers. Sean Zytel is the guy who confronted Dana White on the Ali Act, and you know, this guy is just probably going to be the future of boxing, probably like the future Dan Rafael again, right? The future credible historian, or you know, what do they call the guys who right? Anyway, I'm not going to beat my brain over it, but Sean Zytel and Radio Raheem, legitimately two of the best in the game, and they finally have addressed it as well, right? They have finally addressed it as well and spoke to it, and they had to take some ownership as to as to what we've all had to take some ownership to, is that we've been complicit in this situation. We haven't been, as content creators, we've touched on it from time to time, and we catch a lot of pushback from the boxing space, from the fans, who feel like when we're doing these things or speaking on these things, that what we're doing is we're tearing down a black man. We're only attacking Tank Davis because of the things that because he's black, and we don't want to see him. We don't want to see him be celebrated, and you know, all the nonsense that you guys come up with. Hold on, let me see if I can find it here. I want to find this one straight up. You know what's going to upset me? That if they pulled it down, Will it surprise me? It won't, but it will upset me because at the end of the day, okay, here we go. Perfect. I found it. Okay. Let's see here. There. But they spoke on this, and the reason I'm gonna play this, shout out to them. I hope they don't copyright me and pull me down or anything like that. I don't think they would, but hold on a second. Um, all right, let's go ahead and do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. A screen share, and let's do this, and let's do that. Am I good? Am I in the building, guys? Okay, and let's do that. And let's do this. Okay. And let's do this. Is this what I want to do?
Yeah, it'd have been a little too clever by half. It's a bit corny. You can't say on the one hand, oh, I'm going to beat up the woman beater.
As if that's ever stopped them from doing any commercial bullshit before.
Right, but okay, we are dealing with the hypothetical, like if this fight was selling, if it was a spin, if the fight's selling, then I think they would require the time the fight takes place. And then maybe Jake can make, Davis that is helpful in any way to the mission at hand, which is creating a cultural spectacle, selling tickets in the arena, and making people want to flip on Netflix and watch this.
And everything. And Pharoah Monch once said,
notoriety
for a ton party involved is
I should have timestamped this.
To get people interested in that show deal with, because he's got to deal with public opinion. This is not something that we're hearing about, again, speculation. And charge or I should say,
Sean, did you do
if
what
you think it might rain later, then all you need is this bearskin heavy storm rain jacket. That's because this is the
he hasn't been charged because the investigation
happened. I put myself in the shoes of a potential victim, and I thought, I'm going to be blunt. I thought, look, if I already got my ass beat, I want to get some money out of it, and that's just the reality of it. Because there's no you need to.
There is even a videotape being investigated.
Here we go.
From what I've read, there is a criminal complaint being investigated.
Right.
He hasn't been arrested. He hasn't been charged because the investigation is ongoing. From what I've read, there is even a videotape that exists because it is inside a club where there is video footage that can be acquired by the police with a subpoena. That, if that is in fact true, this is probably going to be something that we see on the internet in the coming days. These police tend to not be able to stop leaks of videos and such like that. So we'll see if that happens. But when it comes to whether or not alleged victim files a criminal charge or I should say element to play, that kind of something that we're hearing about for the first time in this type of behavior with him. There's a long history of criminality and domestic violence, so this is on brand, and it's a brand that Netflix does not want to be associated with. So if he had an opportunity, and again, I think a good lawyer who's just trying to get the money probably goes to him and his lawyer and says, here's the number. If you want to keep this out of the press, if you don't want us to file this suit officially, settle now, keep it on the hush, and go get way more money than we're asking for in a fight in a couple of weeks. Clearly, whatever did happen, that wasn't agreed to, and here we are.
Well, before we get to the bigger picture, first of all, if this fight is off, I'm bummed for you, Raheem, personally, because you were about to be a part of this broadcast, weren't you?
All right, I'm going to leave it alone. I can't find the video mark. I didn't save the video mark, and I don't want to continue to watch through that whole entire interview, right? But at the end of the day, the part I was going to go to was a part where Radio Raheem is speaking to her a little bit more frank towards it, right? And accepting accountability and saying that we've been complicit in this, right? We've been hanging back as content creators, and a lot of people right now, I haven't been watching the live chat, so salute to everybody in the chat right now. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it. But I haven't been paying attention because normally as I'm talking on topics like this, we have the detractors in there trying to distract you, trying to give you arguments as to why we're doing too much speaking on this, right? As to why we're treating Tank Davis differently than we're treating everybody else. How unfair it is that we hold Tank Davis accountable for what he's doing with himself or who he. It's just nonsense, right? I haven't been looking in the live chat. I've just been having a good time speaking here. So if you said something in here and I've missed it, I'll go back through it. I apologize, if it wasn't. But if you know who you are, if you're in the building, I'm sure you're in the building. Multiple. I know who the characters are. It is what it is, right? But I'm not focused on that right now. I'm really wanting to focus on getting this message out and speaking on this and getting past this. Tank Davis has been moving in a certain way for a while now. He's been caught up in a lot of things. Is he the worst person? Is what Jake Paul said to him. He's the most vile person in the world. I'm not going to say that. I think that legitimately, I think Tank Davis has a problem. I think he has a mental health issue. He has some sort of trauma he's trying to get over with. But more importantly, from my point of view, is the man has a hard time keeping his hands to himself when it comes to these women. And the reason that's more important to me, because at the end of the day, as much as we want to empathize with Tank and we want to say have a heart for him, well, what about his victims, right? Go get help, brother, right? Go do the things you need to do to not be this person. I'm not trying to over condemn you, but yes, I guess I am condemning you because accountability is a must. A murderer could murder and be held accountable, and we can still pray for and hope that the murderer gets the counseling he needs in prison, gets the attention he needs, and all those things. And we can look at his past and find out his father was molesting him and his mother was beating him and his favorite dog was killed in front of him and all types of reasons. And we could find out that this kid really was a twisted person from a long time ago, and maybe a lot of other people also deserve to be held accountable as to where he's at mentally. But it doesn't take away from the accountability. It doesn't take away from being held accountable for what you're doing. And bringing it back full circle to what really counts as well is the boxing space, is the content creators, are the boxing fans who want to look away from this and turn this into an attack Tank Davis situation and don't want to take ownership of the role that you guys have played in the creation of the monster, the constant looking away, the making him the biggest star in boxing, the giving him the accolades. And not only that, but who you've probably more importantly, because this is a boxing channel, what you've made him in boxing. Somebody who doesn't have to fight the best, who doesn't need to even show you respect, as he's disrespected you guys multiple times. Right? Shout out to Knockout Boxing 82, right? Who is one of the biggest advocates for Tank Davis, but even Tank Davis not recognizing his efforts in helping him be a star, telling him he's soft and you're making me laugh and who are you? Just, it's been a toxic situation for the effect it's had in boxing, because while this is all happening, while shows are being made, while 3 hours at a time worth of content has been being made about Tank Davis, who's not fighting anybody, where has the content been for the fighters who are trying to make the biggest fights? Where has the content been for the Abdullah Masons, for the Brian Normans, for the Devin Haney's, the Shakur Stevenses, the David Benavidez's? Where has the content been for the Monster Inoue's? Where has the content been, as you guys will find 20 minutes, 15 minutes to speak on these people, but find hours and hours with rooms packed, panels packed out to the gill to speak on this man and defend him and champion him and destroy and attack anybody who's on the other side of a conversation on Tank Davis. And I'm not just talking about opinions of content creators. I'm talking about fighters tearing down a Shakur because of a Tank, tearing down a Keyshawn because of a Tank, right? Tearing down anybody, a Devin Haney because of a Tank. And these are the guys now going into November 22nd, getting ready to watch Devin Haney fight against Brian Norman, making another big fight, the biggest fight he can put together, the hardest, most competitive fight he can put together, staying true to his brand. Boxing doesn't seem to celebrate that. Boxing always wants to come full circle and celebrate this type of activity. And they want to be on that side of the conversation. It is what it is. It is what it is. And we should just do better, right, as a boxing space. And this is not necessarily something for us to be arguing over so much as just acknowledging, right? And accountability is good. If you care for somebody, one of the biggest things you can ever do is hold them accountable. So, why did I get my ass whooped as a child? I got my ass whooped because my mama didn't want the world to whoop my ass, right? Like, I'm going to beat your ass. Because if these cops catch you being a little delinquent out here, the way they going to beat your ass ain't going to be from a loving place. It ain't going to be to make you better. So I'm going to whoop your ass now. I'm going to hold you accountable so that you're a better person outside of here. And I'm hoping that the boxing space is able to get outside of their feelings and outside of their narratives and their agendas and get closer to what's most important. And right now in boxing, this being a boxing channel and us being about boxing, boxing needs boxing to be celebrated. November 22nd needs to be celebrated. David Benavidez needs to be celebrated. The potential new face of American boxing and of the PBC. The PBC thing is your thing. David Benavidez needs the attention, right? This is where the attention needs to go to for you guys. Yes, Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr., Abdullah Mason, Shushu Carrington, Xander Zayas. These guys need the attention. They need the support of the American boxing fan and American boxing fan base. That's what they need. And the sooner we can get to that, the sooner we can get to boxing being what it needs to be. Now, segueing out of that and continuing on to what else comes off of this, we have fighters on the undercard who need to find a place to showcase their talents. They've been working. Gary Antoine Russell has been working to defend his title and also to stay busy as a fighter. There's arguments there to say that the reason Gary Antoine Russell looked the way he did when he fought Alberto Puello was because he wasn't active. This guy wants to fight, and he wants to fight the big fights. He wants to unify the division. He wants to fight for belts. He wants Richardson Hitchens. He wants Teofimo Lopez, right? He wants Tank Davis. He doesn't give a damn, right? He wants Shakur Stevenson. He wants to make the biggest fights. So where do these guys go from here? Where does Gary Antoine go from here? Where does Alicia Baumgardner go from here? Where do these fighters who actually have legacy and careers that they're trying to put together go from here? What rumors are circulating that maybe there may be an event that may be pushed out to December, and that's when these guys will be fighting on that card. We'll see as things get announced and hope that that happens sooner rather than later, as Jake Paul is also in the conversation of trying to find somebody to replace Gervonta Tank Davis. There's been rumors about Francis Ngannou, about Ryan Garcia, about Edgar Berlanga. All these different names have been circulating. Ryan Garcia's team or representation in Oscar De La Hoya has made it clear where he stands on this. This fight is not happening. And I have to co-sign Oscar De La Hoya, who clearly from the outside looking in does not want any part of the circus act. And Ryan Garcia shouldn't want any part of it either. Should be focusing on his legacy, should be focusing on his career, getting back on track. And yes, Ryan needs to be focused on picking up a belt and becoming an actual champion. For all of the talk and all of the nonsense that's happened with Ryan Garcia, at some point, pick up a damn belt, bro. Fight for something and focus on boxing and get away from the antics, right? So I got to co-sign Oscar De La Hoya on this, man, and say, yeah, it's nonsense. This is not where Ryan Garcia needs to be in a fight with a damn Jake Paul, bro. Jake Paul, you're a 200-plus pound fighter, bro. You need to be in a cruiserweight division. I got one for you, Pat Brown. 4 or 5-0, just fought this weekend, knocked out Felix Valera in like 2 rounds, shook up the world. He's not a top 10 cruiserweight. He's a dangerous cruiserweight, but he's in your weight class. Do that. Right? Dortico, the guy who just fought Zurdo Ramirez, fight him. But if you got to fight somebody, you need an advantage, and you're acknowledging that you're not an experienced boxer, well, Edgar Berlanga, right? He's definitely got more experience than you, but at least he's smaller than you, right? That should check the boxes. Make something happen, Jake. It's on you. You know what I mean? But the sooner he does that, I'm sure the sooner we'll hear of an announcement as far as when to expect this next event. It is what it is. Moving on to other topics, Ryan Garcia, Mario Barrios. We'll segue into that. This is what Oscar De La Hoya seems to be working on, trying to get Ryan Garcia another opportunity to pick up a belt and make a big fight for himself. Mario Barrios being a fighter who's always looked to make a lot of money. He's been on the Jake Paul Netflix cards. He was involved in the Manny Pacquiao fight. Doesn't seem like he's really interested in defending or unifying the belt at 147 with any of the current champions. Ryan Garcia being the draw he is. To be honest with you guys, this probably is right up Mario Barrios' lane. I don't see him as somebody who cares about losing as much as he's concerned about making money, right? Mario Barrios is arguably one of the weakest welterweight champions we've seen in a very long time. And some might say somebody needs to take that belt off of him, right? He may be the easier task to handle as far as champions are concerned in the welterweight division. So listen, the weakest link is being exposed as Oscar De La Hoya sees an opportunity to put Ryan Garcia with a belt. And we know Ryan Garcia with a championship belt at 147 makes for a huge unification fights. You know, we're looking at Devin Haney and Brian Norman getting ready to do it big in Riyadh for that WBO title that Brian Norman is holding. You've got Rolly Romero in the same division who beat Ryan Garcia holding a WBA title. So I'm sure there's an actual vision seeing these guys rematching, but making it a unification, which would make that fight even bigger. And obviously we have Richardson, not Richardson. Who we have? We have who's the welterweight champion? Lewis Crocker? Is it Lewis Crocker, the IBF title holder at 147? Yeah, we got Lewis Crocker there, holding an IBF title there, as well, right? So Ryan Garcia being a champion, I get it. It makes it more interesting. But probably the biggest elephant in the room with the Ryan Garcia situation is the way the WBC is moving, right? And handling it and promoting and pushing him just out of nowhere off of losses. We've watched this happen a lot as well over the past year and a half. I don't know if maybe I just haven't paid attention. Maybe I haven't paid attention the way I should to boxing, but I don't remember the last time I've seen so many people come off of losses and go into title shots. I can't remember it happening this frequent, at least, right? Even Gary Antoine Russell, much love and respect to the Russell family, one of the best boxing families in boxing. He got an opportunity to become a champion off the back end of losing against Alberto Puello. They put him directly into a title shot with Rayo Venezuela for a WBA title, and he got himself a title. Rolly didn't come off of a loss, but he came off of a suspect performance, and right before that performance, he had gotten stopped and took a loss from Isaac Cruz at 140, right? But still out of nowhere, right? Ryan Garcia coming off of a disqualification goes into a title fight with Rolly Romero for a WBA title, then loses that fight, gets put on his pockets, and he's rolling right into a WBC title shot. That's probably the biggest conversation as we're watching a lot of it's not the biggest conversation, but it's probably the most underrated conversation in boxing right now is the way the sanctioning bodies are moving people through the rankings and giving them title shots. George Kambosos came out of nowhere, came up with a loss, had a weak tune-up fight at 140 pounds and walked into an IBF title shot against Richardson Hitchens. Manny Pacquiao coming off a crazy hiatus, came out of nowhere, walks into a title shot against Mario Barrios. Errol Spence, worst stoppage, worst beaten, big loss against Terrence Crawford, walks into a #1 ranking spot with the WBC at 154 pounds to walk into a title shot as that was trying to be negotiated between him and Sebastian Fundora. Not just a title shot, but a unification title shot, being that Sebastian Fundora at the time was holding the WBO and the WBC title. I mean the WBO is probably going to strip Sebastian Fundora at cost to Sebastian Fundora for taking that fight with Errol Spence. But regardless, just watching these things kind of roll out the way they've been, that's probably the most under talked about and underlooked at aspect of a lot of this, right? But listen, in the spirit of building back boxing, if Ryan Garcia can pick himself up a title, he has a big rematch with Devin Haney. He has a big rematch with Rolly Romero. These guys are fighting to become Rolly Romero is already a champion. Devin Haney fighting to pick himself up a belt on November 22nd against Brian Norman Jr. If there's going to be a rematch and it be a unification, it just makes the fight that much more significant for the history books and gives Ryan Garcia an opportunity to jump into the conversation that some may say he needed to be in, right? I don't know how you look at it, right? Ryan Garcia is a big star. He's somebody who came into the boxing space with a lot of promise. A lot of people thought he was going to be there, the next golden boy. But I think there's a good argument there to say that his outside of the ring antics and his mental health issues has gotten in the way of him being who he could be. Even me, myself, thought he could be more when I first seen Ryan Garcia. Been very disappointed, to say the least, in the way things have rolled out with him, the racial slurs and energy he's gotten behind to promote his brand, and all types of things that he's done to promote his brand has made his brand very compromised, to say the least, at this point. But it is what it is. That's what they're choosing to do. And in other news, Edgar Berlanga, who's also campaigning for the Jake Paul fight, what's circulating is this guy who's coming off of a knockout loss. Once again, he's going into a regular WBA title fight against Armando Resendiz, somebody who just took in an interim or regular title off of Caleb Plant. And now, you know, Edgar Berlanga gets an opportunity to become next in line to fight a championship fight off of 2 back-to-back. Well, no, he lost against Canelo. Then he had some weird tune-up fight against some guy who just got out of prison. And then he got knocked out by Hamza Shiraz, right? And now he's going right back into a title fight. I mean, the sanctioning bodies need to start taking these things into consideration, right? Like, I don't know if they think it's going under the radar, if they think we don't see it, maybe they don't know, maybe they thinking they're catching to a certain degree, it's insulting to you guys as a fan base, right? Because what's happening is they thinking that you guys are so dumb that they can just do these things and you guys aren't noticing, right? A lot of content creators in the space operate under the same rules, right? They just tell you guys anything, right? So we're just watching these things move around. It is what it is, man. The fights are the fights. I'm interested in a lot of the fights. Some of them I'm not so interested in. But we'll watch it and we'll keep an eye on it. But these are the things that are manifesting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the link up real quick here. How much time do I have here? I've literally got like 20 minutes and then I'm out of here because I have to go get myself ready to get my day going. I'm going to put the link in here, invite guests up here. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on any of the topics I spoke on. If you want to challenge me on some of my opinions, I'm sure you will. There's the link. Hit the link up. Well, let me see. Can't post. There's the link. Hit it quick. If you're going to hit it, come up here, build. Let me hear what's going on while you guys are figuring out who's coming up here. I'm going to go ahead and go through the chat here and speak to some of the things I'm looking at in the chat. And it looks like I got to address some super chats as well in here. Ray Davis back in the building with another $5 says the sanctioning bodies are a deep. Hold on a second. This is kind of weird. I'm just trying. What is this show on stream? Oh, that's kind of cool. This is another thing that's cool about Restream. This is what they're doing. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Shout out to Fly Frequency who says, rest in peace to Victor Conti. Victor Conti passes away yesterday from pancreatic cancer. Rest in peace to Victor Conti, man. Another victim, in my opinion, to a certain degree, from this boxing space, right? I mean, being held accountable is one thing, right? But, I mean, just the amount of just nonsense that people would say and try to make the biggest deal in the world on the strength of this guy's conviction back in the day, bro. I don't know. I don't even want to get that deep into it. Rest in peace to him. Rest in peace. Condolences to his family. Whoever, is affiliated with him in a personal, intimate way, who have taken this loss in that kind of way. Condolences to you guys. On to the next one for Victor Conti, right? On to the next one, man. Let's hope that he's done enough in his lifetime to lock himself a spot in somewhere nice, somewhere what people would call paradise, right? Let's hope that works out for him in the best way, man. It is what it is, man. Let me go through the chat a little bit here, man. See what I've been missing here. Let me see. Shout out to Hal Smith in the building. Let's see here. Must be some video evidence of the assault. Big Sarge says, must be some video evidence of this assault since Jake Paul made the statement that he made. I have a feeling there is. I think there's video, without a doubt. I think there's footage. If she's lying, by the way, then she needs to be held accountable because that's nonsense, right? If she's lying, that needs to be said up front. But I got a feeling she's probably not, right? And I have a feeling that if a lawyer is involved with it and suing and doing all these things, that they have enough evidence to back up what they're trying to do. And there's a good chance when you're dealing with the Tootsies, and I've been to Tootsies. Shout out to Tootsies right over there on 183rd, right there in Miami Gardens. Very familiar with it. Some Miami Gardens, Ives Dairy Road turns into Ives Dairy Road. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. I've been to Tootsies. Frequented there. I've been there a lot. I know Tootsies, very high-end gentlemen's club. A lot of athletes go there. A lot of people with money in Tootsies. Out of a lot of the strip clubs in Miami, that's probably one of the most affluent strip clubs. I've had a lobster and steak in Tootsie's. Tootsie's is a nice place, dare I say. Take it for whatever you want to take it for. Yes, it's a strip club, but it's a nice one. Last time I was there, at least. I haven't been there in years, so I don't want to act like I was there yesterday. But very nice club, hence probably why Tank Davis found himself in there. You'll find a lot of athletes inside of Tootsie's. And yeah, bro, there's a lot of money going in and out of Tootsie's, and I find it hard to believe that there wasn't a camera in every single angle of Tootsie's, bro, right? Except for maybe the bathroom. And I say maybe because I don't know. Wouldn't advise you go to Tootsie's and go do nothing in the bathroom, bro, because I don't know, right? But there's cameras in every angle of that place. So at the end of the day, I'm sure there's some footage. If something happened in that club, I'm sure there's some footage in there to co-sign whatever somebody's claiming somebody else is doing, man. It is what it is, man. Fly Frequency says, hell nah, Clay. This fight was flopping. That too. I think there was also a loss of interest in the circus activity. I don't think people were that interested in it, man. Like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink, no doubt, man. Let's see here. Alex Shield Jones in the building. Salute, man. And guys, hit the like button while you're in the building. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, take an opportunity to go ahead and do that as well. Says Tank didn't even know MVP was financing the event. He's a dope clown, man. Crazy, bro. Diabolical. Let me see here. David Owusi says fight wasn't selling, only reason it got canceled. I think there's an argument to co-sign that too as well, right? I think that there were rumors that people weren't buying tickets, people weren't really diving into fighting. You know, Miami's not that big of a boxing town so much. There is a huge tourist crowd there, things of that nature. A lot of things to do in Miami, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people there anyway. So maybe it would have picked up later as it got closer to the event, maybe this week, you know, or early next week, we would have started seeing ticket sales kind of start moving in the direction of you know, it being a decent event. But yeah, man, I think I wouldn't find it hard to believe that Jake Paul and his team were probably seeing abnormal behavior in concerns of the way their events usually sell, right? Normally what they do in comparison to what was happening with this Tank Davis situation, I could imagine a lot of people being very nervous about how this was rolling out. Keeping in mind, of course, you always want to keep Netflix, you know, kind of pleased. They're putting a lot of money into boxing and giving Jake Paul a lot of money. He probably didn't want to risk a big failure, you know, egg on his face and potentially hurt the relationship with Netflix. So I think that argument may be there for real, right? It definitely will. Oh, here comes my guy, Bub. Okay, well, let's hear this profound thing he said. Yeah, Bubs. It is what it is, right? Hold on. Eastside Easy on Twitter posted 16 hours ago. Okay, that's probably what I was trying to find. Let me see. Bub says, because we must keep it even all the way across the board, we wouldn't want to call someone hypocritical. Profound. No doubt. Royce Dub in the building says hitting women isn't a vice, LOL. It's a ban to who's a trainer who trained a fighter to hit his BM. Tank loves them easy fights. Shake my head. Yeah. And listen, Royce, I like that you said that to a certain degree because, yeah, man, also the people who have been around him, man, enablers, you guys get egg on your face, right? The Calvin Fords, the Kenny Ellises, the people around him. I don't know what you guys could have done, right? But it does, listen, man, this is your guy, right? So to what extent did you guys go to hide and to suppress and to make these things private and hide them? And what did you do to get in front of these things, getting him the help he needed? I don't know, right? I'm not holding you guys accountable like you guys are horrible people, but I'm just saying, man, Tank's actions reflect on everybody who stood by him the way they stood by him and didn't, you know, didn't question these things in the right way, dare I say, right? And maybe the fans more, because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So maybe the fans more than anything, because I don't know what Kenny and Calvin and the people around him did and how they were addressing it. I mean, there's rumors circulating that Calvin Ford and Tank Davis' relationship was rocky. It was up and down. It was a roller coaster. So maybe that's why it was. Maybe Calvin was addressing a lot of these different situations that were happening. And maybe that's, I don't know, right? But, you know, when somebody does stuff like this, everybody around them gets a little bit of a magnifying glass on them at times as well, right? It is what it is, man. Let's see here. Let me see here. Bub says, well, Mike Tyson, Robert Givens. Let's look that up. Was Mike Tyson innocent? Is this profound or hypocritical? I don't know. I don't know, bro. All I know is on the opposite side of this conversation, if it's pushback you're looking to give on a content creator like myself, giving accountability to Tank Davis, I think you're on the wrong side of the conversation. Right? If you're finding yourself, if I'm holding him accountable, and if creators are holding him accountable, and listen, if I'm slandering him, if I'm saying he's a piece of I understand that. But if I'm holding him accountable, right? And you in the side of this conversation that you're choosing to be on is this side that's pushing back at me holding him accountable. Yeah, man. I personally believe you're on the wrong side of the conversation, right? That's where I believe you're at. Just being honest with you, right? Take it for whether you take it with a grain of salt, take it for whatever you want to take it, right? Kai Fly says, is Jake really any better though? I have to assume that you're assuming as far as accountability in this Tank Davis situation, right? That's why I have to assume that you're speaking on when you speak on that. Yes, he is. Right? He is. Why? Because he's not beating on women. He's just not, he's not beating on women, right? That we know of. And that's just, whatever he's doing is just not as bad as that, right? That, to keep it simple, Jake has his flaws. We're asking him to fight better fights. We're asking him as well to step up in the boxing space if he wants us to take him seriously. Jake has things that he needs to work on and get done. But yeah, if you're asking me if he's any better than Tank Davis in this situation, maybe unfortunately for you, yes, he is. Right? He is. It is what it is, man. Shout out to my guy, Major League Maine in the building, says, what's up, Clay? What up to you, family? Big Sarge says, I must say that this statement has some dog whistling connotations, in my opinion. I don't know what statement it was all the way, but so I'm not too sure. Let me see here. Mike Tyson treated women Bubs, I'm gonna stop reading whatever you got going on. I think I've read enough of your stuff. Let's see here. Adel Troy says boxing doesn't shun racists or women beaters. They both shouldn't be allowed to box. Yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, man. I don't know where I'm at with that. I'd have to process and metabolize that and digest what you just said right there. I get where it's coming from. I don't know, right? It's boxing at the end of the day. I definitely think they should be held accountable. And if the accountability is you can't box, I guess some people might say that's extreme because that's their living. That's what they make. That's what they do to take care of their families. And, not beating women was never a prerequisite in any contract that a fighter is signed to not boxing. So maybe taking away his whole career for it may be a little extreme. I don't know. I have to think about it once again. Maybe you're right. Maybe that does hold some weight. I don't know. Right. But I get where it's coming from. I think it's a response to something very extreme. And sometimes extreme things deserve extreme responses, Adel, right? They do, right? So I don't know, man. It is what it is, man. Let me continue moving down here and see what let me see here. Let's go with Albert Real in here. He has something here. It says Tank is always accident prone to get in trouble. Losing this fight is not a surprise. Then Tank did say he's going to retire. That's the way I see it. It is Tank is officially retired. Yeah, I agree. And I think that whenever you start hearing fighters talk like that, Dana White has spoken on this before, and I'm sure other pundits in the space or promoters or managers or league owners and things have talked like this before. But there's, boxing is a very dangerous sport. The old saying that we don't play boxing, right? Because of the actual reality of the consequences of playing a sport playing in a sport like this. You got to take it very seriously. And I remember Dana speaking and saying that, look, at the end of the day, if you're going to, once a person starts talking about retirement, they might be better off retiring right at that moment, right? Because boxing requires a certain mindset and a certain focus. It requires a certain mindset and a certain focus in order for you to be safe and to do the most important thing in boxing, right? What's the most important thing? The first thing you hear at the beginning of every match is to protect yourself at all times. And if your guard is down, if you're already looking on your way out the door, now you're looking to take these fights that are insignificant and you're looking to just make a lot of money, you start compromising certain things that keep you safe in boxing, right? You might put yourself in a position with a fighter that you shouldn't even be in the ring with just to get some money, or you might not prepare accordingly for the next fighter who may be a cherry pick, and then something bad can happen to you in that fight. So at the end of the day, with Tank Davis speaking on retirement the way he has, it was already a bad sign. And a lot of his fans wanted to dismiss that and say that this was some sort of marketing tactic or strategy, or Tank is, just talking and, no, this is what he's going to do. And a lot of these creators were just out of their damn minds, bro. Just talking for Tank, man. This is nonsense I heard on this nonsense that I heard. And I try to be genuine and honest. I'm not trying to be like mean, right? But some of you guys just lost so much credibility, at least with somebody like me. But I'm sure with just boxing in general, just to watch some nonsense that I was watching, people with their fake sources, and this is what's going to happen, and Tank is negotiating this in the background, just the bullshit that was coming out of y'all mouths, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. I think the most profound thing was that Tank was saying he wanted to retire and that he thought boxing was full of shit. So I just feel like that should have been the most important things we understood and we took into consideration when trying to figure out what Tank was going to do, not all the bullshit that was being spread by his toxic feminine fan base. Let's see here. Continue to go down here. Yeah, Mr. Big Play says, man, Clay, off topic, you're just giving away the best players on defense. Yeah, bro. I don't even know what to say about the Jets. Why are you stressing me out, Mr. Big Play, bro? You just stressed me out, bro. You see I had to take my glasses and rub my eyes, dog? Fuck you for that, bro. Yeah, man. I don't even know what to say about the Jets, bro. Ugh. Disgusting, bro. Oh, my God, bro. Oh, my God, bro. I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? Maybe I need to holler at a Tank fan because a Tank fan would know what to say right now. A Tank fan would know what to say right now. They tell me exactly how to stand on business and rep my team, man. And, shout out to the Jets, man. Horrible. Horrible, bro. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Let me go down the list, man. Get away from you, Mr. Big Play Bray. Let me get the hell away from you, bro. Get away from you, man. Honestly, let me see. Albert Real says, honestly, the wait was ridiculous. So maybe it's good that this fight didn't happen. Yeah, I mean that if we're trying to find the cup is half empty resolution to this, the reality is that maybe boxing didn't need to see a fight like this. Maybe this was going to be a big circus show. We saw what Jamel Charlo did with Canelo Alvarez when that fight got put together and how Jamel carried it and turned that into a clown show, right? Was Gervonta going to do the same thing? Was he going to get in the ring with Jake Paul, run around the ring for X amount of rounds, pity-patty with him a little bit, slap some punches here and there, and then it was going to be over with, and it was going to watch them hug each other, and everybody was going to fill the arena to see that? Was that what we were getting ready to see, right? So, yeah, there's an argument there to say that it's good that this fight isn't happening, right? There is. But then we have to look at that undercard, man. We got to look at Gary Antoine Russell. We got to think about these guys, man. These guys are the guys who are losing a lot at the end of the day, and they're not getting spoken on. They're not being celebrated for what they're trying to do, man. And how discouraging is it for a fighter like Gary Antoine Russell to continue to move on this path of being a legacy fighter and to be confronted with nonsense like this and to have to be affiliated with shit like this, right? God knows what the Enigma Gym is going through right now in DC, trying to figure out how to navigate around this Tank Davis situation, because unfortunately, when Gary Antoine's next fight is coming on, a lot of times it's underneath a Gervonta Tank Davis undercard, right? So this has got to be frustrating for them, right? And before you know it, they don't care about nothing but the money. They don't care about making any fights for you guys. They start moving a certain way because when in Rome, right? So, I mean, the boxing space could do better by taking real heed to what we're seeing here, man. And yeah, man, taking some lessons and walking away from this with some lessons that benefit the sport, right? Shout out to my guy here, CJ Rich Boxing, with the super chat in the building. I appreciate you, CJ Rich, with the $10. Says, damn, the training staff, Tank is a grown man. Maybe could have got him into counseling. I don't know. Some dudes just don't have emotional control when a woman upsets them. I put it completely on him. No, I agree, by the way, and I'm assuming that you're responding to the idea of me speaking on Calvin Ford and Kenny, right? Yeah, man. I'm not putting it on them like that, right? What I'm saying is, what Tank does reflects on them. I was trying to speak to the idea of the victims of a Tank Davis, right? When the victims of a Tank Davis, to me, are obviously the women, right? If he's abusing them, but it's also his fans who are standing behind him, who want to rep for him, who want to champion him, and he just makes it difficult for them, right? Puts them in a bad position where they're just getting ridiculed, and honestly, they're just looking stupid. Just being honest, right? They're just looking dumb because of the extent they go to, and to see what Tank does and the way he deals with them, even abusing them. His instinct is to attack them, right? He attacked this, you know what I mean? Listen, man, where there's smoke, right? His instinct is to attack them. That's why I compare Gervonta Tank Davis fan to a domestic violence victim, because I've seen the females who've been beat by their men, but if you try to hold the man accountable, they will step up and defend him. You don't know what he goes through. It's not easy being him. Sometimes I just say the wrong thing and I don't take his feelings into consideration. I mean, yeah, it's wrong, he hit me, but there's a reason behind it. And who are you to judge him? You don't know the kind of man he is, right? That's how the Gervonta Tank Davis fans be looking. to me at least, you know what I mean? So, you know, there's victims outside of Tank Davis for his actions, because he's such a big, he's a business within himself. The Gervonta Tank Davis business, him putting headlining these cards, feeds a lot of people on the undercard, feeds his training team, feeds his promoters, right? Feeds bars and feeds hotels that people are filling up to come to his events. It's so much connected to Tank Davis. When he pulls stuff like this and fights are called off because of what he's doing, there are victims there, and I'm looking at Kenny Ellis and Calvin Ford to say, man, you guys get looked at when this happens. You do, right? I'm sure they don't care, right? They're probably like, look, that's not my problem, bro. You know what I mean? Hey, man, you know, I'm sure they're standing on 10 toes about this, and they're not sitting here being victims. But yeah, man, unnecessary, right? And some people might say unfortunate that they'd have to go through that. You would think Tank would take all of that into consideration when he moves in life. You'd hope he'd take that into consideration. You'd hope he'd take his fans into consideration. You'd hope he'd take his family into consideration. You'd hope he'd take the people who've taken care of him his whole life, like Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis, into consideration. You'd hope he'd take a lot of things into consideration. Jake Paul hoped that he would take the event into consideration. Jake was like, I wish you would have took my damn fight into consideration. I wish you would have took my money into consideration, his own money into consideration, right? Right? I mean, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Take something into consideration. Jesus, you just being diabolical, Tank. I don't know, bro. I'm just saying, just keep it in the bill, right? It is what it is, man. Oh man, Warrior Class 3 in the building. Salute to you, family, with the $10. Says, salute Claymore. Is anyone surprised by Tank Davis's actions? If he isn't wise enough not to get involved in toxic situations, no excuses. He's 30 years old. People don't get rewarded for bad behavior. Oh man. It is what it is, man, right? I mean, this isn't rocket science. Shout out to Warrior Class 3, man. This is what life is about, accountability. Life is about accountability, man. Do you have children? Do you have anybody who you are in charge of raising? Are you responsible for anybody? Is there anybody that if they go out inside of these streets and do some dirty shit, it's on you to hold them accountable? Do you have anybody like that? I do. I got children, right? So do you have somebody who, if they go out into school or if they go out in these streets and they act a donkey, is somebody going to be looking at you and saying, what in the F-bomb are you going to do with this one? I need you to come get him or her, and I need him or her to come back better. I'm assuming you have this under control. Thank you in advance. Are you guys in that position at all? I am, right? I have children. And what it is what it is. So if Tank Davis is caught up in these situations, how much excuses can you make for him, right? Even my own child who I love, if he keeps on getting in trouble for the same damn thing, how much more can I take? They're just lying on me. Keep on getting in trouble for it, bro. You keep on getting in trouble for it, bro. What you want me to tell you, man? You know what I mean? You taking their side, though. They're just trying to, maybe. But then again, right? But then again, it is what it is, right? It is what it is, man. Let's see here. Birdman in the building says, although not deserved, Ryan fighting Barrios for the title sets up the perfect unification fight with Haney second half of 2026. Yes, I'm picking Haney and Ryan. Yeah, man, Birdman, you're right, 100%. I'm totally on board with you, man. I was saying that as well, right? In the spirit of making the big fights and making them significant, you know, I do look away a little bit, not completely. I look away a little bit as to what's going on with Ryan Garcia getting ready to fight Mario Barrios. But I do think that the sanctioning bodies are losing more and more credibility throughout. I think this is not a good look for them necessarily. You know what I mean? Like you guys, I don't know, man. It doesn't look good, man. It's not a good look, man, that you guys are constantly doing this, man. Fighters coming off of losses, jumping into title shots. I mean, damn, bro. After a while, it's going to be like, who do I got to send the money to, right? The promoters are going to be asking straight up, I'm sure. They probably already have an understanding, right? Who do I send the money to, man? I want to get my fighter in a championship fight next. Yeah, but he just got knocked the F out. Yeah, I know, bro. But listen, man, we trying to make a bigger fight. I need him to get the title shot. What do I gotta do, man? Who I gotta send the flowers to? You know what I mean? Who do I send the box of chocolates to? Who do I send the money to? Who do I buy the Ferrari? Who do I send on a private jet to an island somewhere to get touched up by a bunch of sex workers, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. So Barrios versus Ryan is happening. It's definitely in the works of happening. Round one. It's definitely in the works, right? It's definitely, they're trying to make it happen, right? And, when you see Mauricio Suleiman move the way he just moved, there's an argument there to say that clearly that is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's what it looks like. You know what I mean? From the outside looking in, it looks like that is going to happen, man. It is what it is, right? But guys, look, man, I don't see nobody hit the link, man. I appreciate the super chats. This wasn't going to be a long one, man. Just wanted to dive into some topics here, man. Speak towards the Tank Davis situation, obviously. I hope everybody affiliated with this is finding themselves the best resolution for them. Tank Davis, I would encourage, if any advice I could give, which I'm not in a position to give advice, right? I mean, don't listen to me, but go get some help, man. Walk away from the sport for a minute, man. Go sit down in the therapist's office for 6 months to a year, man. Get out the sport. You saw Errol Spence has been gone for over 2 years. He's not coming back until he's ready to come back, man. You're young enough. I think Tank is young enough to be gone for a year or so, come back when he's 31, 32 years old and still be anticipated, maybe even embraced even bigger, knowing that he went and got the help, would have the space, be able to embrace him in a better way. And hopefully if he does come back, he comes back motivated to fight, man, to box, you know what I mean? To make the big fights, to become a champion again, to unify belts, to beat to fight and beat, that's on him, to fight and beat his peers, right? I mean, That's all we could wish on for him. As far as Ryan Garcia, Ryan, make this one the right one. Train, be ready, dial in. I don't know if he's still with Derrick James, but get away from the antics. It looks like Ryan's been kind of getting away from the antics to a certain degree. I've seen him on Inside the Ring. That's the thing about Ryan Garcia, right? I've seen this professional side of Ryan Garcia. I've seen this admirable side, this side of Ryan Garcia that I like, right? I've seen him on Inside the Ring and have appreciated his contribution to boxing. I've seen him perform in the ring before and appreciated his contribution to boxing. I've seen a side of Ryan Garcia that I could be a fan of, right? In spite of all the nonsense that he's been involved in, all the rhetoric that he spewed, I've seen this other side of him. I would encourage him and hope that he didn't embrace that side and just treat this nasty racial side that he's on as a horrible vacation he took and, visited, been there, done that, don't want to go back there, not my type of atmosphere, and just come back to reality, man, and tap into this boxing space, right? Like, that's what I hope he does. You know what I mean? Boxing could benefit off of his talents and off of the things he brings to the table. Boxing could benefit off of it. His opponents could benefit off of it. The fans could benefit off of it, right? A lot of people could benefit off of Ryan Garcia tapping into what I believe his gift really is, which is in his boxing acumen, right? So let's hope that he does that and he brings that full circle. Edgar Berlanga, you know what I mean? Hey, brother, Edgar, it might look crazy for Edgar's at times because maybe it looks like I'm knocking him. I don't want to knock Edgar because I really like Edgar, right? But I do need Edgar to take his skills seriously, right? And do the things he needs to do, man. So I'm wishing Edgar and rooting for Edgar, by the way, against Armando Resendiz. I hope he wins that fight and gets back into the conversation because I think Edgar Berlanga makes boxing better, bro. I mean, personality-wise, the fact, the way he knocks people out, what he brings to the table, right? The excitement, how he performs. I think Edgar Berlanga is good for boxing when Edgar Berlanga is dialed in. So I'm hoping Edgar dials in. You know what I'm saying? And take advantage of this, man. Do I think you deserve a shot to get into a title? No, I don't. You got knocked out, bro. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Boxing says you should get a tune-up. You should work your way back into the conversation. But I also understand that not everybody's treated the same. You have obviously a star quality. You've been in the ring with Canelo Alvarez and ran all the way 12 rounds with Canelo Alvarez in a somewhat competitive fight, right? I don't know how you want to look at it. So people want you in the conversation. And boxing, American boxing needs its stars to shine. But the stars, right? American boxing also needs its stars to deliver inside the ring. That's what we want to see him do. Let me cover this one last super chat, Adele, Adel, and I'll bring you right on, bro. Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
Shout out to Warrior Class 3 in the building with another $10, man. I appreciate you. Warrior Class, one of the biggest supporters of this channel, man. I appreciate you, man. Always holding it up, man. Says, speak on it, Clay. Tank hasn't learned being held accountable for his actions that may have dire consequences, and his status has impacted others around him. Explain boxers' hands are registered weapons. Yeah, man. He's yeah, man. Without a doubt, Warrior Class. And to a sense, I'm going to keep on saying it. Accountability is very important, man. The boxing space should not shy away from their responsibility to hold these fighters accountable, bro. Do not make it look like beating on women is okay and that we don't give a damn. That's their personal business. We just want to see them in the ring. Sometimes these fighters need to know that if they rub us the wrong way, we might react in a way. Maybe if Tank thought about, I would slap the shit out you, girl, but I'll mess around and lose something. Maybe if he had that in the back of his mind, maybe that would have, steered him one way or another. But I'm sure for him, it don't matter, right? We're a bunch of idiots. So shout out Adel. Assalamu alaikum, Aki. What's good, family?
Walaikum assalam. What's going on? Can you hear me well on this platform?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You coming in clear.
Man, I appreciate you, man, as always, man. Clay Day in this building. You know what I'm saying? You're always personal with your family, you know what I mean? Letting us get up here and get it off our chest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always.
So
I don't have it any other way.
I'm going to rapid fire a whole bunch of them. I'm going to empty the clip.
I'm going to sit back and watch it.
Hey, look, this is discretion or just disclaimer. None of these views are shared by. Say what you gotta say. So
we don't. Well, yeah. Now, just a disclaimer. The views represented by Adult Choice don't necessarily represent the views of this channel and none of its viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, look. Fuck Teofimo Lopez. I told you that he was gonna chicken out that fight.
Did
you
he?
know what I'm saying? When we yeah, he did.
Right? I didn't get you.
Nah. He talking about fighting the Filipino. He talking about, moving on.
I think that's squashed. That's squashed. He's back on point. From what I heard, he's back on.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that, Clay.
I'm hearing it's happening, man. I don't know. Go ahead.
We not playing. We're not doing the yo-yo with Tio. It's not happening. Stand on business. It's not happening. We not doing that. He's a racist, Mark. He's scary. He don't want no hands from no BAs. And when he made that very clear, and I think that's why people have these type of racist tropes on us. They don't get racist with nobody else but us because they don't want these hands. The next one, that the tank. Let's go on the topic before I go to other things. The topic at hand is DVs. It shouldn't be allowed, but when you open the door for, let's use some grown language, because I think the kids are still in school.
Yeah.
When you open the door for fuckboy shit, this is what we get. We allow so much toxic bullshit coming from other camps, and now we have to hold ourselves accountable because we still wanted these fuckboys to perform in front of us, to entertain us. We still wanted to put money in their pocket and not cut them off from boxing and other sports. So now, here we go. This guy Tank, he's involved with now running over or hitting a pregnant. The damn after that showed no remorse. I heard already back in his hometown. Paid off everybody else who was involved with the pregnant lady. Felt like he didn't show any remorse. So she didn't take the money. She wanted criminal. You know what I mean? She went to the criminal side of the game, right? That's what I'm hearing. And then he dragging out females because he can't control them because he about 5'0". You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you're going through, bro. I'm 6 foot, so I don't know how it feels. But all I know is if you can't control them, let them go. You know what I'm saying? So if you got to do all that, she's not yours. So you do that with every chick that you not taller than, you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? This Napoleon complex with him, he got a problem, man. You know what I'm saying? So bad better bitch than his bitches that he's messing with. So it's crazy. It's crazy work. And then now, you mess up the bag for the fake fighter. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to run around and figure out who to grab. But there's only one person that you really, and that's Crawford. And we all, you know what I'm saying? But you don't want to reach out there because for whatever reason, I think because Crawford may be a bigger star than him right now. You know what I'm saying? I think Crawford may actually expose some things in his, alleged fights that he's been having. You know what I mean? So he's going to bring to game, you know what I'm saying, some other eyes, some other analysis and things like this. This is not going to be a dog and a pony type of fight if you bring Crawford on there. You know what I mean? So, but I think I want Crawford on there because his bag is due. He just sat in the back so long. Give him the bag. Give him the easy. Jake Paul, you an easy bag for Crawford, and he deserves it because I don't think he's fighting anytime soon anybody serious, and I don't think Jake Paul is a serious fighter. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm going to say about that one. So Fake Paul, we're going to call him Fake Paul. Remember, disclaimer, these views are not shared by Clay. I call him Fake Paul because I don't believe none of his fights are real. All right? So don't come for Clay. Clay thinks everything you do is real. I'm saying you're Fake Paul. Okay, now the other fight that's coming up that I really appreciate that we're highlighting, on some real boxing news is Devin, you know what I'm saying, and Brian Norman. You know what I mean? That Devin always coming at the throats of whoever's on top, you know what I'm saying, ready to take to take off their heads. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate that. Coming from the town, coming from Oakland, you know what I'm saying? That's standing on business. I think sometimes that we get involved with a little toxic choosing sides, and I'm seeing certain platforms, you know what I'm saying, certain Black American platforms either hate Devin and love Norman, or love Norman and hate Devin. And I just wish we try to, you know, go down the middle of this, because it's getting really ridiculous. We're repeating history a lot because we did the same thing with Spence and Crawford. So, you know what I'm saying? But I think that's going to be a wonderful fight, man. I think that's going to be a chess match. I don't think Brian going to come up there swinging with his eyes closed. I think he has a high intelligence, high IQ in boxing, and I can't wait to see if he's going to keep his chin over his knee, or is he going to be able to lean back and still stay in place? Because, you know, when that jab comes, people tend to put themselves out of punching back at Devin. So if he keep on running back on that back foot, you know, it's going to look like he's scared of Devin, and he's going to prove everybody wrong about Devin being pillow fisted, because he's going to look like he's running. So, man, that's my rapid fire. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you sharing the platform, man. You know what I mean? And me being long-winded. All praise be to Allah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, man. Appreciate you, man, for sure.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Shelton Moore, OG, what's good, man? You on the road, man? You moving around, man? Did you leave that damn dog at home?
What's up with you, Clay? My guy, what's up with you, Clay?
Chilling, man. I was asking up front, man. Did you leave the dog at home, bro? Is the dog at home? The last time we spoke, that
Dog
dog
is at the house, brother.
The dog was shut down.
Dog is at the house.
The last time
Hey,
the
man,
dog was like, I don't care what you got going on, Shelton.
Hey, you know what's so sad about this whole situation, bro? Is the fact that I don't expect anything different from this. That's the saddest part for me.
Right.
This is shocking. Now you say, wow, why did he do that? I don't expect nothing else from him, because that's all he's ever.
Right.
Only thing that made me shocked was the fact that Netflix wanted to do business with him in the first place. I was shocked. But, you know, after this new allegation came out, lawsuits, now Miami-Dade police got the footage, I knew they wasn't going to do no business with this cat, man. To hear your thoughts on it, Clay. What do you think, bro? Because I ain't surprised at all.
Without a doubt, man, I'm not surprised, you know, and what you're saying is, it's like unfortunate, right? But that's the reality. It's sad, but it's true. I wasn't surprised when it came out. I remember when my guy Ray hit me up, like, did you see this? And I'm like, I didn't, you know, right? He sent me the link, and I'm like, oh, at first I said, man, who else is saying it? Because I don't know if it's true or not. You know, I'm not the type of person to just bite on the first, you know what I'm saying, on the first bit of information. But then, you know, when ESPN started reporting on it, and US State, they started reporting on it, I'm like, okay, well, that's what it is. But yeah, no. I remember telling my wife, right? Again, Tank did it again. You feel me? Like, Tank is, you know what I mean? And she just shook her head like, oh my God. And the reason she shook her head, to be honest with you, because she knew that, I'm be real with you,
really.
What she understood was that the fan base was going to be toxic, right? That the fan base was going to support it and push back, and that in us as content creators, we're going to have to speak on it, and us having to speak on it was going to cause that same energy where people are like, oh, there we go, hating on Tank. There we go, being mean to Tank. There we go, doing this to Tank. That's what she understood. And that's what it is with Tank Davis. The biggest impact of Tank Davis is the toxic energy inside of boxing, inside of the space, inside of these chat rooms, on these channels where people are trying to build on boxing. And if you cover it, you can't champion something like this, right? So if I'm going to cover something like this, I'm going to cover it in an honest way, and I'm going to speak on it for what it is. And it's not going to be something you like. If you're a Tank fan, you're not going to like it because it's not going to shed light on your fighter in a positive way. but the inability of the space to accept truth and be more upset with their fighter for putting them in a position like, damn, why you gotta do that, bro? Now we got to do this with you. No, they choose not to be that way, right? It is what it is. Shout out to Fa for Warrior Class 3 again, back in the building with the support to the channel with the $5. Says, can any blame be put on Floyd Mayweather, Leonard Ellerbe, Calvin Ford, and Kenny Ellis for Tank's toxic behavior, since all had a hand in raising Tank? No, bro. No, Warrior Class. We can't put blame on them. You know, when Floyd Mayweather had Tank Davis, he tried to get in front of the nonsense, right? He tried to control him. He tried to micromanage his career to the point to where a lot of us, including me at times, were critical of Floyd Mayweather micromanaging Tank. Like, damn, let him speak. Damn, why you always got to jump in his scene? You know, at some points, it looked like Floyd was trying to damn near clout chase Tank Davis or wanted to be in the light over Tank Davis. But hindsight says there's a good argument there to say that Floyd was trying to help Tank avoid a lot of nonsense he was probably going to go through if he gave him the freedom to do what he's doing right now, right? Keeping him locked up and tied up and not letting him speak all the time and trying to control everything that came from him. You know, there's an argument there to say that that we looked at that wrong, and we don't know why Calvin Ford and Tank had their roller coaster ride, right? When Tank fought against Lamont Rose the first time, he didn't have Calvin Ford in the corner as a head trainer. And he didn't have Calvin Ford in a training camp to the point to where we didn't even know if Calvin Ford was going to be in the fight because he went over to Barry Hunter, right? And we didn't know what he was doing, right? So we don't know if that wasn't Calvin Ford being a father figure to Tank, and Tank being rebellious as an adult who has a lot of money, who you can't control. He's not a child, right? He's a man. So if he wants to truly do what he wants, he will. And therefore, on that note, if we dismiss Tank Davis's dismiss or take any accountability away from him by spreading it even across the people who are around him, managing him, then we're treating him like a child, and then we're leaving him in a position to where he doesn't have to be accountable, right? Nah, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Salute to you, Warrior Class. Respectfully, no, bro. We can't blame them. We shouldn't blame them. I'm not going to say we can't. We shouldn't blame them. Tank Davis should be accountable for what he did off the strength of himself, off the strength of him developing as a boy into a man to be accountable for himself. He's an adult, bro. 30 years old, bro. No, we just can't do it. It is what it is at this point. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know, that's where I'm at with that, man. Hey guys, it's about that time, man. I think I thought I was going to work. I just got a text saying that I'm good, but I am gonna take a break to go run off and handle my business. I'm probably gonna go up live later. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm thinking about it. I might go up live later. I want to cover the fights that are coming on this weekend. Erickson Lubin, Virgil Ortiz. We need to cover that. We need to speak on the undercard. We need to speak on 154. A lot, we need to speak on boxing. You know, I mean, boxing is in a great space, man. Outside of this, and that's another thing. In spite of this, I would hope a lot of these content creators, one last shot at these guys being the best they can be. I believe every creator who stepped into this space because of love of boxing. But I do believe a lot of people have been compromised with being over saturating themselves and over involved and invested in one boxer. So yeah, man, I hope to see that a lot of thumbnails go up for Erickson Lubin versus Virgil Ortiz. I hope a lot of thumbnails go up for the state of the 168 pounds. I hope a lot of thumbnails go up for Diego Pacheco getting ready to fight on his next card, and Tito Mercado and all these other fights that are coming. I hope to see a lot of thumbnails representing boxing, man, and championing the fighters who deserve to be championed, right? Not just focusing everything on this one topic. Until the next one, it's your boy Clay. This is that ATP Combat Media Show. This is the Boxing Take. You know how we carry it at this point. Salute to everybody in the building. Oh yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Hit the like button, help the channel out. Until the next one, we out.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it 'cause you